With 3.1 just around the corner, today we are going to talk about how you can prepare for some of those upcoming characters in the 3.1 update. In today's video, we're going to talk about Cyno. Let's get right into the video. First of all, for Cyno's boss mats, you're going to want to come to the Electro Registine, which can be found in the Sumu region. You're going to want to farm him to get some of the Thunderclap fruit cores. To fully ascend Cyno to level 90, you're going to need 46 of these in total. As for Cyno's world material, you're going to need to wait to farm these because they are currently not available in the current region and will come out in the future update that Cyno is in. Next up is the mob drop materials. To ascend Cyno and to level up his talents, you're going to need to farm the sand materials, which can be found all throughout the regions of Tevat. I will leave a link to a map in the description below if you would like an easier way to farm these, but you're going to need to get these. I will leave a link to a map in the description down below if you would like an easier way to farm these. Next up, discussing Cyno's talents, we're going to want to come to the Steeple of Ignorance. You're going to want to come here on a Monday, a Thursday, or a Sunday to get the philosophies of admonition. Lastly, for Cyno's dungeon boss materials, you're going to want to come to the end of the Honoranic Euthymia, which can be found in the Inazuma region, and in order to unlock this, you're going to need to finish part 2 of Raiden's story quest, and you're going to want to get some of the Mudaras of the Malefic General's hands. These are needed to ascend any of Cyno's talents past level 6. For this next part of the video, we are going to discuss Cyno's best artifacts and his best weapons, but because this character is unreleased yet, take this whole part with a grain of salt, as none of this can really be confirmed, as we still know very little about his kit and what he scales with. But anyways, let's get right into it. First of all, for Cyno's weapon, he is going to be a polearm user, and from my understanding, he is going to be a main DPS polearm unit. So we're just going to go over some of the best options for main DPS polearm units. Obviously, some of your best options are going to be either the Primordial Jade Winged Spear or Staff of Homa. These are just two of the best 5-star weapons in the game. Both have really good passive effects and give crit rate or crit damage as a second substat here. They also have a high base attack and are very versatile with most main DPS units in the game. Nextly, for free-to-plays or low spenders, some good options are going to be the Deathmatch, which is just a overall good weapon, can balance out that crit ratio, and can work very well with Cyno. Next, we are going to talk about the Blackcliff Polearm, which is a secondary sort of niche option, but still can be good nonetheless as a good crit stat stick and having a mediocre passive effect, but still being good for that crit stat. Next option is going to be the Moon Piercer, which is the new weapon that just came out in 3.0, which is the craftable ones, which everybody can get on any of their accounts. From my understanding, Cyno is going to need a little bit of EM. With all the new reactions coming out involving Dendro and Electro, and him being an Electro user, EM is going to be very, very important with him. And the Moon Piercer provides that EM and has a nice passive effect in tow as well, and a fairly high base attack, so this could be a very, very nice weapon for free-to-plays. And the last weapon I wanted to discuss briefly was the Katong Cross Spear, which is another good option. It's not as good as the Moon Piercer, but it could be a secondary option if you just don't have the craftables for Sumeru yet. This weapon gives you a little bit of EM, has a nice base attack, and increases elemental skill damage by 6%, and can also help regenerate a little bit of energy, which is the most important thing from my understanding with Cyno, but can still be very helpful nonetheless. The next thing I want to discuss is artifacts. So artifacts are obviously very important. First, let's talk about artifact stat priority. For most main DPS units in this game, your stat priority is going to want to be crit rate or crit damage on the hat, electro damage bonus on the goblet as he is an electro user. For Cyno, you're probably going to want either attack percent or EM on these sands. If you already have a EM weapon, I'd recommend doing attack percent for the sands as it's going to give you more value. But if you're using a weapon like Primordial Jade Cutter or Deathmatch, for example, EM can still be a good choice. And then obviously you're going to want to prioritize crit rate / crit damage on all the substats on every single piece. Next thing we want to talk about is the artifact sets, and this is going to be very, very important for Cyno. So first set I want to talk about is the Gilded Dream set. This is a set that scales with Elemental Mastery, and if you're already putting Elemental Mastery on Cyno, this set can help even more triggering reactions and can help increase attack for the party. Just an all-around really, really solid set, and I'd say it was probably one of the best for Cyno's kit. The next artifact set we're going to discuss is going to be Thunder Soother. Now this artifact set recently just got changed with all these new little bonuses that come with it with the new Denjo reaction. So this set, I've seen most people grind it for Cyno. It's probably going to be the generalist recommended set for Cyno. I imagine this will probably be his best in slot set. This set increases damage caused by all sorts of different reactions here by 40%, which is going to be very, very useful for triggering those Denjo reactions, which are going to be involved with Cyno's kit. So the next thing we want to talk about here is if you cannot get the 4-piece set, you're struggling with substat, you can't get those right crit rate, crit damage ratios with him, so you want to do a 2-piece, which is never a bad option and can work very, very fine. So your options are going to be 2-piece Glad for that extra 18 per attack percent, or any set that gives you plus 8 attack percent, like Shimnawa's Resistance or Vermilion Hereafter are just two good examples of that. Other options are going to be using a 2-piece Elemental Mastery set like Gilded Dreams or Wanderer's Troop, which can also be very, very nice. Another good recommendation could be the 2-piece Thundering Fury, which gives you a 15% electro damage bonus. That about wraps up the artifact section. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them as I can. Obviously, because Cyno is still on release, it's very, very hard to kind of predict where all these correct artifacts will go, but I'm just trying to give a generalist recommendation on what I imagine a main DPS Electro user who kind of scales with EM attack will look like. As we don't know Cyno's talents yet, I can't give you guys any recommendations on talent priorities yet because they're still unreleased, so we do not know as of yet. With that being said, that is going to wrap up our video for today. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more in the future, please consider subscribing or leaving a like down below. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.